I'm Stephen Gallacher. I've got Phil, our writer, up back there. We've got Jamie and Lewis, who you saw in the film, but also produced the film. I directed it. They produced, writer, and my connection is I grew up in South Shore, so I'm Blackpool born and raised. That's pretty much everything. I'll make it nice.
Yeah, he's done everything.
Hi, my name's Jade Mark. I'm the director and writer of BONFIRE, and I'm based in Preston currently.
Wonderful background.
Thank you. What else did I need to say?
That was
everything? Oh, brilliant. Hi, I'm Brad. I am the director of INERTIAL, and I'm from Polton as well, so local.
Hi, I'm Ben. I was the director of Trust Me, Best Mate. Unfortunately, I'm not from Blackpool, but my producer over there, give us a wave, Tom. He's born and bred Blackpool and he loves this place, so...
And you filmed it in Polton at Cotton Moor Playing Fields.
We did.
Yeah, I can tell it's that's Cotton Moor Playing Fields, that. I grew up there.
So yeah, it's been filmed all around the area, so yeah.
Hi, my name's Anton. My film was End to End, the documentary on the Fleetwood Tonight Ferry, and coincidentally, Iain Cash was actually, who's got his own film, Circle, was actually my cinematographer, so it's great to be sat with him today.
Thank you for the intro. My name's Iain Cash. I was the filmmaker behind The Circle, and the writer is Michael, who's sat up there in his own looking red and really embarrassed, and he's a local to this area.
Yeah, I mean, mine's already been done. Words on Blackpool.
Brilliant. So one of the reasons I wanted everyone to say what their local connection is, because Ed said something brilliant at the beginning about how being here, it makes you can make lots of different connections with all the other local filmmakers, and that's the reason why I wanted to say what their connections are, because that is so true. Because there's two people on this panel that I know very well through my connections, which is Stephen and Anton. So Anton was the runner on my film Changing Tides, and Stephen I was chatting to all about my film Changing Tides. We met in London about it, and so it's very. This is why it's so important that you do come to these things and you connect. So when we go down the line, I'd like you all to tell us what your inspiration was for the film. Where did that idea come from? Why did you feel it had to be set within the local area? And was there anything that you learned from setting it here? Is there any challenges or things that you'd like to share about filming in the local area? We'll have to go that way because the mic's over there.
Do you want me to start? Pass it back?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So it was shot in the northwest. It was shot in Wigan, and Michael and I were both trying to find locations to shoot it in, and we went from everything from Working's Men Club to different pubs to high, and in the end we filmed it in the Lee Spinners Mill, which was basically the best location for us because we could control the light, it was cheap, and it had a little cafe next door which did all the catering for the movie. So it was everything we needed, and we were able to bring the film in a low budget.
Great. What do you need?
Yeah, so I felt compelled to make the documentary about the Fleetwood Tonight Ferry because I'm not originally from here, but I live in Cleveley, so just up the road, and I just fell in love with the whole area of Fleetwood. I discovered all these places you do when you move somewhere completely brand new, and I just fell in love with the history, and I found that the Fleetwood Tonight Ferry was kind of the last piece of Fleetwood history that's still kind of going, in a sense that goes back nearly 200 years, and I felt compelled to make it because it's currently quite vulnerable to closure next year. And it was great meeting all the characters and everything, all the people and stuff, and yeah, it was great working with you, Iain, and all the other people who helped make it happen as well. But yeah, it was a real journey making it.
So Trust Me, Best Mate is actually based on a book about two lads growing up in Blackpool and kind of their adventures growing up. So coming from not the area, having to kind of... There's quite a lot of history in Blackpool, which is not where I'm from. I'm from down south in Milton Keynes originally. So coming from something that's a brand new city, somewhere up here where there's a heritage, it's very historical, it's really quite an enjoyment having to learn the culture of the place and how these characters act differently to how I would initially perceived it if they were from where I am. So yeah, that's what the film's based on. And it was really fun kind of learning the culture, the heritage about the area. It was really fun.
I mean, as soon as we set out to make the documentary, obviously it's got to be based in Blackpool, it's got to be where INERTIAL is. Troy, give us a wave, he's up there, the main man. I think it was really, really important to make it because I think Blackpool gets such a bad rap. I think it's substance abuse and poverty and the things we see over and over and over, and I'm a really, really big believer that until we start putting out stories based in Blackpool and based in the Northwest that have a positive light, that shine a light on communities like INERTIAL and like Blackpool's independent music scene that Troy is such a big hand in, that we're never going to change that narrative. We're still going to be represented as protests outside the Metropole and homelessness and people just come here for a laugh and a night out and booze and whatever else. And I think until we sort of become active and change that narrative, like, that's just what we're going to be seen as and just what we're represented as. I think that's the top and bottom of it, really.
Yeah, so BONFIRE was, the original inspiration was, I was 17, I was on a driving lesson, and I look out the window on my driving lesson and I see a young boy about 10, and he's got a cigarette in one hand and a lighter in the other, and he can't work the lighter. And it was bonfire night, and I was just like, what is this boy's life? And I just sort of wrote these things down, and like all directors and writers, we usually write something and then I like to let it cook for a bit. I just put it in somewhere and just let it bake. And then cut to, I've just made my first professional short film, Under the Surface, and I worked with this young boy in it. And child actors, like, a lot of them are quite crap, right? So, like, when you find a good one who's, like, really natural, like, I would yell action and he would just, like, camera didn't bother him, he was just, like, improvising, just going for it, and he was incredible. I was just like, I need to make something with this kid. And he told me about his dad, who had lost his mother when he was really, really young, and he kind of had a lot of issues after that. And when he was telling me about his dad who had lost his mother, I dug out BONFIRE and I said, okay, let's actually rewrite this, let's change this. And that was where the initial sort of conceptual idea came from. Those two things merged.
You don't want to talk?
I'm talking.
All right. I mean, Phil came to me with the script originally. We were trying to make it as a feature, and it's a project that he's been working on for a very long time. And then we got Lewis, Andy, and Jamie all involved, and that's kind of where it kind of came from. And we've been going for about 2 years to try and get it made. Decided to make it as the shortest proof of concept for something bigger, which Phil is working on at the minute. And we just wanted to make a film about Blackpool that it's authentic and real to the people, but also hopeful, as you just said about INERTIAL and trying to change that sort of message. And I know that a lot of people will see our film and go, oh, you know, it's not the most hopeful, but the ending is. It's supposed to be that you know, you can see more beautiful things. It's whether you go into Blackpool going, oh, I'm going to see the bad side, I'm going to go to these sort of places, everything else, or by the end he's like, oh, there's actually these all amazing things that are part of this town. And we found that when making it as well, the amount of love that we got from so many different, like a couple of the places that we filmed in, one of the B&Bs, actually one of the owners of the B&B was also a drag queen at one point called, was it? Patio Doors. And we were obsessed with trying to get them to get into costume and be in the film, but they were like, it's too much effort to go and change. But they were so lovely, and you know, we filmed in a karaoke bar, which we just turned up to one night, and we were like, can we just film? And they were like, yeah, cool, fine. Going to pubs, they were like, yeah, come and film. Everybody was so hospitable, and that, I think, is something. I live down in London now, and you don't get that sort of hospitality when you're trying to make a film, whereas Blackpool, I think people, and when we told them the message of the film as well, and it was upsetting because a lot of people turned around to us and said, you know, this happens all the time. It happens like almost weekly. We tried to film on the pier, so the end scene that's on the beach was actually going to be shot with the parrot running towards the end of the pier and jumping off. And we asked the peers if we could film, and they were like, no, because unfortunately this happens all the time, and we can't put that stress on our, our workers and people who are on the pier. And we were like, that's absolutely heartbreaking to hear that. But we just wanted to shine a light on that sort of story and those themes, but also go, look, you can have these life-changing things and have your life turned around, and somewhere like Blackpool is an amazing place.
Quickly as well, like just from someone who isn't from Blackpool, like what struck it with me was realising that you have to come to Blackpool and make memories to have an opinion on it. Do you know what I mean? Like people from outside look in on it and then have an opinion on it based on like what the media might put out. But we went there and we made an experience. So when I look at that place now, I have fond memories, and that's what we remember when we were kids, when we were in Blackpool. It's about the memories that were created. So you've got to come to these places and make memories and try and have positive experiences instead of just like looking at it from afar and judging it. And that was a big thing, and it coincided with Billy's story as well, because he comes to a place where he thinks it's a better place than any to do that, but he ends up remembering what it was like as a kid, do you know what I mean? And you get to find out a lot more about that in the feature film, but all the flashback stuff with his granddad is integral to him going, wow, it's a good place, and I'm a good person. So that's what I got out of it.
Brilliant, thank you. I'm just aware of time. We could probably take a couple of questions from the audience. If anybody, you can ask the whole panel or you could ask individually. Anybody want to ask any questions?
Pop your hand up if you've got a question. Oh, you would be over there. It's not really a question, it's just that as an outsider visiting the festival from Ireland, with a film in the festival, I just want to say to all you guys, Blackpool is in safe hands with wonderful young filmmakers and documentary makers. Congratulations. Thank you very much. I'm on my way.
This question is for the entire Blackpool team, really. I really loved the Visit Blackpool bookends, and it wears its train spotting influence really on its sleeve, and I was just wondering at what point did that kind of come into the production? I mean, was it something that was a starting point for you guys, or was it something that came later in production?
No, the two monologues, the Visit Blackpool monologues, definitely. I mean, that's all filmed from the off, and I think they've been in pretty much every iteration of the film that we had. The opening one kind of came together through quite an interesting collaboration. Phil's writing, Jamie, who turned around to me and was like, we never really see him on his night out. We should just take the handy cam and just go and film him running around Blackpool. And we did, and we nearly got kicked out of Coral Island for guerrilla filmmaking, and we just took Andy into loads of different places. And then my editor, Stewie, big up Stewie, if you're done, he put it together with all of that stuff, and then our wonderful sound designer put all the beautiful sound effects, the roar and everything else. So it all kind of came together really beautifully. And then obviously Shotty Horror's wonderful music kind of came with it. So it was this beautiful. Originally it was just going to be Andy walking, and it was just going to stay on our long tape, but yeah, we just got very, very lucky and creative with it. Yeah.
We are really short on time, unfortunately, so we're going to come back. I wonder if we could just ask one last question to everybody that's here. And in fact, Kathryn, you might want to answer this one as well. We might have asked it last year. Some of you guys are just starting out, some a little more established, but you were all starting out at some point, and we know there's certainly plenty of people here today who are. If you could just give one piece of advice to somebody new trying to get into this industry, and just sum it up in one sentence, what would it be?
That's a hard question.
Okay. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Always ask questions. You are in the perfect place at the moment to ask. So ask questions and never be afraid.
Never stop learning. I think that is as good a one. That if you ever go onto set and think that you know everything, give up, because you don't. And I think that is something that everybody needs to know. Is like every day is a new challenge. Every day is a school day on set.
Don't wait for permission for your film to be made. Just make your film. You make your film. If you want to tell a story, just make it happen.
Don't be a dickhead. That is everything that's come in my career so far has been because people can put up with me. No, people like me and they like my writing, and I like and trust them and respect them. So you hear stories about this industry all the time and how some people are not great, and those people do exist, believe me. But that doesn't mean you have to be like them, right? So don't be a dickhead.
Alongside that, I think just pick up and make. I spent the last 11 going on 12 months now teaching young people working and wanting to work in the film and TV industry, and I think they just have access to whatever the colleges that they work at can fund, and sometimes that's 1 or 2 cameras, sometimes it's shooting on iPhones and first generation iPads, and some of the things that they will produce and some of the things they will go on to produce in the future will be the next generation of filmmakers. And I think coming from Blackpool, coming from the Northwest, they have voices and stories that they could shoot on an old phone that just about has a working camera with a crack down the middle that will knock the spots off so many big people that are out there now and so many established filmmakers. So I think it's just pick something up, whatever you can get your hands on, and tell your stories.
Yeah, I'll just say really surround yourself by really good people. I feel like I work much better when I've got good people around me, people to encourage me, people that will tell me kind of when I'm going off track, when I need to focus. So yeah, I feel like the people around you can really help push you forward.
I'd say don't be afraid to compromise. Of course you'll have a vision, you'll have a script, you'll have everything set, but things can go wrong, things can change, and this can be from when you're actually shooting it to when you're in the editing room. So don't be afraid for different ideas, and don't be afraid to just, something may not go rigidly, but the greatest things that have happened in cinema history have been through spontaneity and through good luck, or something that wasn't originally planned, basically. So be open.
Don't wait for the phone to ring. The job's never going to come. You've got to get off your ass and you've got to make it yourself. Don't wait until you're ready, because you'll never feel ready. We've all probably got imposter syndrome at some point when we all think we're not good enough to do it. So you just got to keep doing it, and the only way the work will come to you is when people know about you. So you've got to get yourself out there, you've got to put yourself out there, and you've got to be prepared to take the knocks when people give you a bad review. Just you've got to develop a thick skin because you're in the public eye, and you just got to keep doing it, and consistency is key. Just don't take no for an answer, but just always be humble as well, because like you said, that's all I want to take it.
Just be a dickhead, now joking. For me, it's just being authentic. Like, I'm not a rich kid from London who went to films. I'm from a council estate, from absolutely nothing. And I know what I can do. I'm good at getting stuff done, so I'll never compromise who I am. If the project doesn't fit me, or I'm too rough and ready for a nice clean-up Marvel film, then that's not the film for me. So it's just about being me. That's probably the biggest thing I've learned, because not everyone's going to like me, but I know who I am at the end of the day. Yeah.
No, I think there's one other person in the room that we need to get a similar answer from, because it's always the directors that like to come up on stage, and it's always the producers that like to hide away. Which one's Dom? You don't get away with it. So you're Blackpool? Yeah. Blackpool? Yeah. Good man. Me too. Same question to you, Dom. Is this your first film, second film? What's this for you? Yeah. Yeah.
We made films at university.
That doesn't count. After leaving university. So this is your first film that you've got here in Lytham International. That's a round of applause in its own. So now, having done your first official film after leaving university, what's the one piece of advice you'd like to give to somebody who's going to try and step into your big shoes?
Big shoes get bigger feet. I don't know. I've just finished university, so it's just hard work. What we made with Trust Me was, we made that on a really small budget, obviously being university students, and I think, especially with Ben and the rest of the crew, hard work will get you anywhere you want. So yeah, definitely say hard work takes you wherever you want to get.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Can
Yes,
I say one thing before we move on? I also just want to say to every filmmaker in the room, if you are local, this man here is brilliant. He's so wonderful. He puts so much time and effort into this festival. He's fabulous at connecting people, connecting other filmmakers. Literally, he's such a sponsor and support for local filmmakers. So, you know, I think we should all give Ed a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Getting emotion. It's probably worth saying just before we let you guys have a quick break before we come back for Women in Focus in 20 minutes or so. They don't know it yet, but in this room there are a couple of award-winning filmmakers. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure you're here tomorrow to find out exactly who that might be. But thank you so much. Give these guys another huge round of applause, and thank you to Kathryn as well. Thanks everybody.